What's up everybody, King Louis here with a new Mordhau video. The Billhook is one of the least used two-handers in Mordhau. Enough reason for me to pick it up and have a closer look at it. Is it perhaps undervalued, or do people stay away from it with good reason? Let's find out. The Billhook is with 14 points, a relatively cheap two-hander. Its strike damage to tier 3 chest and legs is very low, and probably the main reason this weapon is not played more often. Stab damage to tier 3 armor is decent. Damage to low armor opponents is very good without exception. The Billhook stamina game is with 19 drain and 12 negation, a bit below average for a two-hander. The Billhook has a unique trait. In normal mode, strikes pull enemies towards you, and their movement speed gets crippled for a short period of time. In alt mode, and this is the only thing the alt mode changes, this pulling and crippling effect is applied to stabs instead of strikes. In duels you definitely wanna use the normal mode and play around the strike pull. My preferred dueling loadout is 0-3 with Acrobat, Second Wind and Stun. Tier 3 legs have twice the kick damage to tier 3 chest compared to tier 2 legs, and only slow you down by a tiny bit. Tier 2 chest lets you tank the same amount of hits as tier 3 chest against most weapons, but makes you a bit faster. No head armor can be risky, especially if your defense is not solid enough. But if you know what you're doing, it is actually pretty hard to get hit in the head. If you fall for a morph feint, you can jump or turn away and look down to protect your head. The only thing you need to watch out for are overhead XLs and horizontal XLs. That being said, 2-3 or full tier 3 is more consistent but less flashy and agile. What a lot of players don't know is that the Billhook has one of the loosest strike turn caps in the game. This means that you can look around rather freely during attacks and pull off some extreme swing manipulation. The Billhook allows for some combos that will catch most players off guard and look pretty neat. You can, for example, pull enemies with a drag towards you and combo into a kick. After that, use stab feint and create a 50-50 guess for your opponent, since he can't chamber in that situation, because he still flinched from the kick. That combo alone does 80 damage to tier 3 chest. Note that the first attack should be a drag. If you do it with an XL, your swing travels too long after you hit, and your enemy has more time to react to the kick. Also make sure you're close enough so that your kick reaches your opponent. Another thing that can catch an enemy off guard is an intentional miss, comboed into a kick. You can follow up with a stab feint and punish with a stab. It is important to say that flashy plays like these are not competitively viable. But they work against 90% of the player base and are super fun to pull off. Really good players, however, will know how to defend themselves against these shenanigans. Before I started gathering footage for this video, I almost had no experience with the Billhook in Frontline and Invasion, and I thought that it is a pretty underwhelming teamfight weapon. After playing a few games with it, however, I really started to like the Billhook. My preferred build is 0-3 with Friendly, Fireproof, Cat and Bloodlust. I use it mainly for aesthetic reasons, and I also like the extra movement speed it provides over heavier loadouts. Something like 2-3 is probably a lot better though, and will get you killed less often. You can also go full tier 3 armor and use a bandage instead of Bloodlust. The Billhook is with 14 points very cheap, and builds are flexible. In Frontline and Invasion, I mainly use the alt mode and play the weapon like an S-stock or a spear. So you basically run around and stab enemies. Stabs deal good damage even to tier 3 armor, and have relatively good wind-up and combo speed. Not quite as good as an S-stock or a spear, but still decent. Also, if you get into a duel, you can quickly switch to normal grip. So if you like the stab dominant playstyle in teamfight modes, but also want a weapon you can duel with, the Billhook is with 14 points a solid choice in my opinion. The crippling effect on the alt mode stab is also very nice. It can pull enemies a bit out of position, but more importantly, it cripples their movement after a hit for a bit, which often makes them panic. If you stand close enough after a stab, and the guy you stab doesn't hold S immediately, you can follow up with a kick and a stab feint or a stab. The Billhook used to be praised as a cavalry counter, since it can dismount horse riders. However, I wouldn't really say that this is necessarily true, since cavalry with long weapons, like spears and lances, almost always hit you first and will one-shot kill you. So the best thing you can do is to stay out of their way, especially if you're out in the open. That being said, I really enjoyed my recent Billhook play sessions. The mixture between stab-dominant teamfight play and flashy duel plays using the strike-pull mechanics were super fun, and even though the weapon might not be top tier or competitively viable, the Billhook pull-kick playstyle is something you should definitely give a try, if you haven't already. Anyway guys, that's it for this video. Please leave a like and consider subscribing to this channel if you haven't already. As always, thank you all for watching and see you soon.